Hi, Paul. Welcome everyone to another edition of P&G Tips. I'm Gary in Stockholm.
Hi Gary. I'm Paul in Barnsley. Hello everyone. Welcome to this next episode of PG Tips.
Great. So, Paul, today we have a common problem that we're going to talk about, and that is taking line drawing artwork and then transferring it into either Photoshop or Procreate, and then being able to work with it in a way that's easy and accessible.
That's right. It's a problem that every illustrator will have come across. You work on a line drawing, you want to scan it into the computer, get it into Photoshop or Procreate. Sometimes you don't need to get rid of the white background, but more often than not, you do want to remove the white background and then maybe color the line work. So there's various ways of doing that, but there is only one perfect way of doing it in Photoshop. And you can kind of do the same in Procreate, not perfectly the same because it's a different approach. So I'm going to show you how to do that in Photoshop first, and then we'll come back and do it in Procreate. So I'm going to share screens with you so that you can see how I'm doing it. So let's go. So here we have our scanned in illustration. It's a pencil drawing done on white paper, scanned in. I scan in always in RGB, even if I'm only working in black and white eventually, then I do keep it RGB as I scan it in. On this one, we're going to ultimately be working in color. And I always bear in mind that you can't import RGB file, you can't import grayscale files into Procreate, only RGB. So we've scanned in color. There's a layer stack on the right-hand side. Ignore these other layers for the moment. They're what I've created for this tutorial. There's our drawing in the top layer. Just to make sure there's no other colors in that as we've scanned it in color, let's just go to Image, Adjust, and Desaturate. So we're now sure that all we've got is black and white on this drawing. Now there's a perfect way, 100% sure, of getting rid of that white. You don't have to try and select the white and erase it. You don't have to try and select the black drawing, the graphite drawing, and lift it off the background. All you need to do is, once you're on that drawing layer, is select all, Command A, and copy, Command C. So you've made a copy. Go to your channels palette and create a new channel. And then Command V, paste in the drawing. So now you've got your drawing in a channel. Anything that's in a channel becomes a layer mask, an alpha mask. So you can load anything in there back onto your artwork. So to do that, let's Command I, invert the image, and then drag it down onto the selection ring. So all those pixels of the graphite drawing are selected. Go back up to our main RGB layer. So at the moment, we've still got the original drawing on a layer selected. Let's turn that off. We've got a white background. Let's put a layer above that, and then we can fill it. At the moment, we've got red. That will do. That will show us exactly what we're going to get. So we've got a red color. So Option Delete fills it, and we can set it deselect. So we filled just the pixels that made up the graphite drawing with red. No other pixels exist on that layer. As you can see, they are locked, or they're not locked yet. As you can see, that they are transparent because of the checkerboard in the background. And up there, you can click on lock. So now we can choose any other color. Let's just go opposite and say a blue. Choose a brush tool, and you can color in all of it blue, or Option Delete and fill it blue. If you want it to look like your original drawing, let's go back to black, although your drawing was probably graphite, maybe 75, 80% of black. Option Delete, let's fill that. So that is a perfect copy of your artwork, but with no white background. And we can prove that because if we turn off the white background in this folder, I've got various colors. Just turn all those off. I've done some of the green, the mouth, the eyes, the rosy cheeks, eyeballs. And you can see the drawing over the top, turn it on and off, is there. The one I've been working on earlier is that line drawing. And as you can see, if I pull it over here, I've not kept the grey of the original drawing. I've filled in some of the lines with green and some with blue as it falls over the illustration. I think it just looks better than the harsh black and white or grey. So you can also, I've lifted off the leaves. As you can see, the leaves at the top are on that layer. They were, just put them back on, they were the original graphite drawing leaves. I've separated them and I've made them a paler version filled with pastel colours. So that is the best way, the perfect way of getting rid of all the white from your illustration.
So welcome back, and I hope you found that useful and were able to then follow along and then try it yourself. It's really good to sort of take these things right away and try them if you have Photoshop or if you work with Photoshop. And if you don't and you want to work with Procreate instead, Paul's got a nice way of describing how we can do the similar process in Procreate.
Yeah, just before I cut to Procreate, I did mention just then that you cannot import grayscale files into Procreate from Photoshop. That's still true of layered Photoshop files. It won't let you do that. But you can import a grayscale JPEG into Procreate. But once that's in there, imported as grayscale, it remains grayscale. So to get over that, just open an RGB image and then import your grayscale image into that. So you can work around it. So yeah, Photoshop and Procreate have got very similar functions, but I'll share screens again now on my iPad and let you see how we do that in Procreate. Okay, now we have our drawing in Procreate. Let's open up the layers again. And as in Photoshop, we've got the drawing on a white background at the top. Again, ignore the layers that are underneath that I've created just for this tutorial. We're going to do exactly the same as we did in Photoshop, but just a different approach, because in Procreate you cannot access the channels, the RGB channels. But as I said, a channel is an alpha mask. So we can add an alpha mask to our drawing. So while the drawing is open, we'll select all with the arrow tool. 3-finger stroke brings up this menu and we'll say copy. So that's copied our drawing to the memory. Back to the layers, turn off the drawing. Above the white background, let's create a new layer. And this layer will hold the colour of the drawing. So to show you what it's going to be, let's make it a red so that it's obvious. So we fill in that layer with red. Now it's that layer that we're going to add an alpha mask to. Touch and put mask. Add a mask. Make sure the mask is active. 3-finger stroke and paste. So we've now pasted our drawing into that alpha mask. Everything that was black is blocked out. Everything that was white is see-through. We don't want that, we want the opposite. So we're going to touch the alpha mask and say invert. So the white background is still there. We've not got rid of it yet. It's just that we've masked it away. So whilst we're in there, let's choose our graphite colour, something like 80% black. And fill the underneath red layer with the charcoal colour. So now we've got our drawing colour just as it was. And then touch layer 11, the one that's got the graphite colour in, and say merge mask or combine down. So now we have the drawing with no white background and you can see through, and if I turn on the colour in the background, you can see that it can see through to all those colours that I created. And again, if I turn the line drawing off and switch on the one I was working on before, the one that has got not just graphite colour. 2-finger touch to return it to that to undo. So that is exactly the way to do it in Procreate, matching the way that we do it in Photoshop.
So welcome back, everyone. I hope that you found the Procreate tips as useful as the Photoshop ones. Paul, thanks so much for putting that together. We're looking forward to making more of these tips as going forward. So we hope that you find it useful. We certainly do. I certainly did. I struggle with this sometimes myself and have all kinds of different methods, from adding on multiply layers. I've tried so many different things, but your tip was exactly what I needed. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's brilliant always to learn new tips. I'm always looking for new tips in Photoshop and Procreate. So we're going to collect some of those together, some of our favorite ones, and we'll do future episodes where we share some of those. Because some of them are quite simple. And you think, oh yeah, that's great. That's obvious. And then there's some like sharing a stack of layers between Procreate files is just amazing. It goes against all kind of conventions. So we'll show you that in an upcoming episode. One quick tip before I go is, I mean, you introduced me to Procreate, Gary, at Picture Book Retreat. I can still recall that. I think we might have already mentioned that in a previous PGTips. And ever since then, I've been in love with the program and working on it. But just to find my own comfortable working space, I've tried sketching outdoors with it, but as you know, the light's quite reflective. So if I just want to work indoors, the iPad itself is quite slippy. So I've just created this non-slip board, piece of kitchen matting, the non-slip kitchen matting that comes on a roll, on a piece of wooden hardboard backing, and then I can sort of set up my workspace, iPad on the mat, pencil out, a cup of coffee, and it just gets me in that Illustrator working space that I need. So it's just another quick tip.
It's so great. Yeah. The ergonomics of how we work is so important to make sure that we don't have a hurt neck, that our arms are, working properly. So it's super important to find your own workspace and to find solutions that work for you.
Yeah. We've heard people chatting at conferences and places we've been when some of them stand up to work. They have a standing table. I've never tried that. Have you tried standing up?
Tried standing, but actually my method is actually I lie down. So I lie completely back and then I support my head with a pillow and then I prop my iPad up on myself. So I take it out of, so I have a whole complex thing, but I basically have my iPad here, right? I take it from its little sheath. I have this this keypad thing and I place it like this and I'm lying back, right? So then I can draw like this and I have support for my head. So I almost always, when I'm drawing, I work like that because I want to really support my head and neck. So that's like a complex.
I never realized that. I'm glad I asked you about that. I might try that. I can't imagine. I'll try that, see how comfortable that is.
Yeah, prop yourself up like, so you're half sitting, but so you're definitely, your neck is supported, right? So then you can sit like that. Yeah. And I find that the best ergonomic method for me.
Brilliant. Good one to finish on. So watch out for future episodes. We're going to collect together some of our favorite Procreate, maybe some more Photoshop tips, and see you soon.
See you later. Bye, everyone.
Bye.